Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's doing good. It is Tuesday, November 29th. We're almost through with November and we're almost into December, believe it or not. And I'm here in Dallas. Kind of a nice day today, actually. Here in Dallas. And, just um, pretty light in the market right now. I did close some of my shorts. Just want to go through a few things before we get into the questions. And, there is hope for November because typically November is one of the best months, at least for the Dow, the Russell, and the S&P 2000, according to Dow Jones data. But, this might be a different year. Who knows? I mean, it's really been a strange one. It's really been a strange year all over. We kind of have been very, very light in a lot of ways, and and the market just has been pulling back. We today, the big cap stock took it on the chin again. To Apple was down. Of course, this is one of the most widely held stocks in the world, and it's held by a lot of funds. So, I'm definitely always watching Apple because it is. I think it's still the largest holding of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, of course, and so that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting, definitely interesting thing, and it's been pulling back. I wanted to short it, but I needed it to rally. Typically when we're shorting, I like to see it rally up, and then probably the 21-day exponential line, and then I do something on it. But interestingly enough, we're coming in December, and hopefully, we're in a confirmed uptrend, believe it or not. But it's not the big cap stocks in the Nasdaq that are making the headway. It's the smaller ones. So kind of interesting there as well. Just wanted to show you a stock that I'm getting ready to do something with, and that is Charles Schwab. Of course, a lot of people have heard of Charles Schwab, one of the biggest brokerage companies, obviously, in the world. And just wanted to show you kind of the entry point where I'm looking to get in to this. It's got a 97 composite rating, which is very high. It's in the top 3%, of course, of all stocks out there. Currently, it on the after hours action, it was at a 80 39. Now, there's a buy point on this one. I've indicated it on the chart here. Hopefully, you can see it. The buy point that I'm showing is 8108, cup with handle, stage one entry point, and it's looking pretty good. I mean, basically, the composite rating 97, of course, was very, very good. EPS rating, also very, very high. So it's got a green line on that one on the checklist. The relative strength, obviously, also very strong at 88. So anything above 80 is really, really good. And the group relative strength, A plus, and that's the financials. And so, really, this, at least for going higher, this is one of the best of the breed right now. And of course, everyone's heard of it. It's Charles Schwab. And I do think that, if you want to kind of nibble, and I've been, throughout the year, I've been mostly in the oil stocks, and I am only holding one oil stock right now. That's BP, and it was up today. But I've been very conservative. I've been shorting some of the big cap techs, and just trying to find opportunities where they are. And right now, at least for going higher, one of the best opportunities I think out there right now is Charles Schwab, and this is a top stock. So I think that you could definitely accumulate this one. We definitely have, uh, you know, other funds that are accumulating this, so it looks pretty good in terms of that. So just put that on your watch list. Charles Schwab, and the symbol on it is SCHW. So if you want to kind of put it on your list, here's what I'm currently holding long. And again, not very exciting. I mean, I have basically been, either stopped out or not, into most things. And currently, the only thing I'm holding right now long is BP. It was up a little bit today, about 1.67%, so almost 2% there. So it's pretty good. Price is 35, 31. And the question is, could we possibly? Is this still in the buy zone? Well, it's getting the top. It's getting a little extended, but I still like this stock an awful lot. Awful lot out there. So let's kind of jump on over and see if we can take a look at the at the screen here, kind of the live chart for BP. I'm gonna just jump over here. It's gonna say, there we go. All right, so it's gonna come up obviously with the Charles Schwab chart, but let's see if we can get the BP chart up. And BP, there we go. And oops, uh, click this lower. Yeah, we are still. This is a still buyable chart. Now we did move down a little bit. Uh, we're looking at the daily chart here. Let's see if I can bring it a little bit into focus. There we go. All right. So here we are. This blue zone is the buy zone, and we were at the top of the buy zone. It's pulled back a little bit, but it looks like it's moving up again during the day and after hours. So I definitely think there's strength here in this stock. Now, it's not a very exciting stock, but it has a lot of refining capacity. And of course, as we know, there's a diesel shortage going on worldwide. So this might be something that would be interested, but definitely a buy point on this one. Let's take a look at the technicals on this. There we go. All right, let's look at the technical action. And basically, we are right about 2% above that 10-day line. We have the 21-day line. We're above that. So basically, what we're doing is we're catching up. The stock is catching up to the indexes. Still, this is a buy. We could buy it here at about 35, 40, 42 in that because we're still within 5% of that 21-day line. So this one might be of interest to you. I currently hold it. Of course, I may be adding to this position. It's a slow and steady wins the race kind of stock. It's not the most exciting stock in the world, but definitely something that, kind of is of interest. All right, let's see if I want to show you a stock of the day. Now, this is the IBD stock of the day. It's not my stock of the day, but it is a stock that might be of interest. I don't know. I think it's pulling back, and it's a relatively inexpensive stock. Really not sure about this one, but it's a cup with handle. It got a good composite rating. It's ABCL, and it's a biotech stock. And that has been an area of strength in the market as of the last few weeks or so. Has been the biotech. This is coming out of a cup with handle, relatively inexpensive stock, $13. 36 cents when the slide was taken. It was off a little bit today, but I do think it is pulled back, and it may be we may be seeing a potential for a move here. Let's take a look at the chart, ABCL, and this, of course, is the live chart that we're using here. So ABCL, there we go, and it's biologics. That's kind of the um, that's kind of the there we go. Okay, so this is ABCL. And it is come up basically, there is a 1450 buy point here. It's come up with this beautiful cup base and then a pullback on the handle. This is not a bad place to buy it because right above that 21-day line, this is possibly where it will reverse. And so what you can do on this, if you're interested, is you can draw a trend line, and that's what I'm going to do here. Oh, there we go. Let's get that right. There we go. We're going to buy that trend line. And what this trend line is this really just showing us, when it moves above that trend line, that's kind of where we want to buy it. So not a bad place to buy it here. It's up a little bit after hours, 1366. Again, this is relatively inexpensive stock, so it's going to show a little bit more volatility than the other ones. But this might be one that you might want to jump into. I'm not so sure. I'm looking at it, but I'm not so sure that I'm a buyer at this level. So, but interestingly enough, it's a biological stock. So ABCL, and that is, of course, is a really well performing area of the market right now. So, with that, with further ado, somebody's asking about coin. We'll take a look at that in just a second. But I want to get to see if anybody. There we go. All right. So, well, let's take MRK. Let's look at MRK first, and then coin. So Coinbase, of course, is hurt, of course, by the whole meltdown in. Well, let's take a look at coin first. This is being hurt, of course, by the whole, you know, problem in the crypto space, and I think we haven't seen anything yet. I think there's more trouble coming, unfortunately. Would I buy Coinbase here? Absolutely not. It's below the It's below that critical 200-day moving average. It's also below the 50-day moving average. It's got a relative strength of 6, and that means, of course, that 94% of the stock market is doing better than this stock. So, not really a very good recommendation here. So, just really would not be in coin. This is not a situation. People will say, "Well, I'm going to buy it and it'll go up." Well, maybe, but maybe not. It's not showing really a lot of promise. So, I'd stay away from coin if I were you, just me here. We also have another question from Sam Rawa. Thank you very much. The call in from TikTok, and he's looking at Zim, Zoom. I'm sorry, Zoom. Now, if you've been watching my show a little bit, you'll notice that I did short Zoom. I did close that yesterday, right before the end of the trading day, about 2:30 my time, 3:30 on the East Coast, and I did make a little bit of money shorting that one. Of course, I've been emphasizing shorts because the market has been trending lower, and if we can effectively use shorts to generate income. Basically, what's happened, it's up a little bit after hours. It seems it pulled back again about 1.42%. Now, I didn't reshort it, but I did short it yesterday. I wrote it down about what, 3 to 5%. I can't remember exactly. Made a few $100, but not not getting super rich there. But would I short this thing again? Well, yeah, I don't know. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth, but it's got a $70 price tag. I think it easily could move down to the $50 range. One other thing I want to take a look at Zoom here really quickly. So I want to look at that weekly chart to see kind of where the floor is on Zoom. Now, what I'm showing you on the chart here, hopefully on TikTok, I hope you're seeing this, is that we've had this just tremendously, we've had this, just as you can see, we're just diving here. And currently, Zoom has lost. It was almost $500 a share. Can you believe that? And now it's $70 a share. So it has lost basically well over 80%, about 85% of its value so far. The question is it going lower? Well, I don't know. It looks like it's sort of forming a floor here because I'm going back in the Wayback Machine here. I think it could go as low as 60, maybe even lower, but I think that, we're going to see a floor at 60. So we have about 10 more to go down. I don't think I would be a short here just for that reason. I want to see it rally a little bit up to possibly possibly the 10-week line, and that would be about 78. So if it rallied up to about 78, I would probably short it, but I wouldn't short it here because when you're shorting, what you want to do is you want to rally up to an index, usually like the 21-day exponential line, or that's a daily line, or the 10-week line on the weekly chart, and that's where you want to short it. You want to short it as it's moving higher. I know it sounds really strange, but you might want to move it shorter. But I would not recommend it right now. I just wouldn't recommend it. Let's take a question from Bombadoc. Always like to hear from Bombadoc. BTU breaking out or breaking bad round two? Good question here. Breaking Bad, of course, I'm sure that everyone's seen it. It's one of my favorite shows, of course. Really great. But BTU is Peabody Coal. It's one of the biggest coal companies in the world, based in, I think it's in St. Louis area, but just a huge company. Has about a three, has about a 3 on the price to earnings ratio, if you can believe it. It had a nice, and I can see why Bombadoc is looking at this one, because we had a blue dot on this today. That means it is the largest increase since the last the pivot. So the last pivot 33.29. I don't know if you can see that here, but that was the last pivot, and now it's coming up to a very nice right below that, and it definitely had a nice day today. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4 days of upward motion on this. I think you could buy this one, but I would wait for a pullback, probably to the 10-day line. So here's what I would look for if I was doing an entry on this one, I would look for it to pull back. Right now, it's 9.61% above the 10-day line. So I want to see it pull back to that 10-day line and then hopefully get some support. Doesn't have to come all the way down to the 10-day line, but I want to see it come down probably to about $30 or so. And then if it does, then I think it's going to get some support there and move higher. Now it may just continue to just move higher. Sometimes that's what all you can do. Right now, this is a good sign. It's moved, and I'm just drawing the trend line here, and let's put that there and there. This is what this is this is the trend line, and what we're looking for here is we're looking for a movement. Well, let's try it again. Sometimes 2 times is the charm here, so let's see if we can get that in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the trend line. Let's pull here I am talking and I didn't show you the chart. So let's show you the chart with the trend line. The trend line for BTU, and this is Peabody Coal, has moved up and it's now moving above that trend line. What that means is that if it's below this trend line, that means it's in a downward trend. But when it moves above that, as you can see, now it's an upward trend coming up to the buy point. So, yeah, I mean, theoretically, you could buy this one. I'm just looking for sort of indications here, kind of sniffing the ground here. We had a really good earnings report last quarter. Sales were up, earnings were up 490%. That's pretty darn good. So this is again, I mean, I never thought I would say this, but we're sort of in a market where the most exciting stocks are like coal stocks. I mean, can you believe and railroads? So that just shows you the market. I mean, the tech stocks are kind of dead, but yes, you could definitely buy this one. I probably wouldn't buy a whole full position, but definitely this is viable. It's coming out of this beautiful base, and it's probably going to go higher. I mean, probably gonna get a cold winter, unfortunately, for a lot of people in the Northeast, and, I think they'll do very, very well. So, Peabody Coal, BTU, it's definitely viable. Let's look at the checklist just one quick time here just to make sure. It's 89 checklist. This is excellent. The only thing it's failing on, of course, is the EPS, 80 or better, but remember, they had a great earnings, so I just think that, yeah, this one's just looking good. I just wanna check a few more things on this one, and, of course, that would be the, um, the fundamentals on BTO. Let's kinda look to see if I can get the fundamentals up for everybody here. There we go. Okay, good. It could be hopefully you can see this on TikTok. Anyways, what's happening on the fundamentals? So let's go back. Oh, trying to get back to my um to to the full screen. There we go. I think there we go. All right. So I'm gonna take the that off just so we can kind of see it, and zoom in a little bit. All right. I'm having to switch screens around here, so that's why. There. Okay. So let's take a look at BTU. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what I'm mostly interested in, of course, is this earnings. And boy, look at that. Last time, not sales were up 98%. Their profits were up 490%. The price to earnings ratio is 3. I don't think I've ever seen anything that low. That means if you buy this stock, you're going to get it all back in 3 years, and the cash flow is very strong. So yeah, I definitely think that this is worthy, of your time. I think it's a really good stock, and I think we're at a place where you could definitely, yeah, you could definitely buy this one. Uh, there we go. All right, let's take a question from TikTok. Somebody's interested in CrowdStrike. That would be probably a good short. And I want to check it out to see if I can find something on CrowdStrike. Oops, that is going to give us um, it's CRWD, CrowdStrike, and of course a security software company. and I'm on the wrong. Let's go to the daily chart first. Take a look. Boy, this would be a good short. Thank you for this. I appreciate taking the time for this one. This is a good short. Absolutely. Boy, I should be shorting this bad boy. It had some earnings and it's pulled up to it's almost at the 21-day line. Let's take a look here. Wow, thank you for this. This is good. It's got a 56 checklist, which is not very good, which is good for shorting, but not good for going long on. Let's check a look at the 21-day line. We are just below that. We're 2% below that. I would prefer it to be at the 21-day line, but it doesn't really. Oh, look at this. It's getting hammered in the after hours. Look at that. Wow, I didn't see that. They must have. Okay, yeah, it would be a little bit dangerous to short this because it's likely to have a dead cat bounce. So some news must have come out on this one. Somebody sold a very, very large position. Look at this. It went from 138 in the normal day to 112. Wow. So here's the thing. What's going to happen probably on this one is we're going to see it move down. We're probably going to see this gap down tomorrow. This will be a gap down. And then you want to wait for the rally. What's going to happen is that you need to put this on your watch list. It's going to gap down. There's going to be a rally, and then when it rallies, that's where you want to short it because this more than likely will move it lower. Let's take a look at some of the fundamentals. I don't know what the news is on CrowdStrike, but this is definitely serious. This is interesting. The According to this, somebody big sold because we are in a situation where I am seeing yeah, I mean, the sales are up 58%, the profits were up 227%, so that's not the case here, but here's the thing, here's the teller, PE ratio of 102. If you remember with, Peabody Coal, in this kind of environment, it's show me the money market, and in that kind of market, people want to get their money back fast. Peabody Coal, at the price that it is, about $30 a share, it's returning about $10 a year each share. This one, not so bad, not so much. It is returning some cash, but not a lot based on its earnings. So, I think that is part of it. It looks like some of the big funds are dumping this one. This might be a good area to look for some shorts because a lot of big funds are trapped in these stocks, and they have to get rid of them, and they're getting rid of them. But you got to be careful when you're shorting, especially when you have big investors in it, because they will typically, there'll be short squeezes on. It. So you got to be careful. You just can't go willy nilly and against everything. But it does look like, well, interestingly enough, we have increasing numbers of funds in it. Let's see if we'll look at the fund ownership on this one, just to see kind of what's happening in terms of what's happening in terms of the fund ownership. It does look like, yeah, I see a lot of these funds are in it. Let's pull that over for our friends on TikTok here. And it does look like we have a lot of funds in it. A lot of these funds are going to have to get out because it's losing money and it looks like it's going to lose some more. So might be a really, really good setup for a short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down on my list as a short list. And that is CRWD. And that looks like a good short for me. Tomorrow, of course, it's gonna dive tomorrow morning, but you don't want to buy it. Well, you might be able to get in on as it comes out of as it comes out of the box. You might be able to buy it at market, and but it will probably open lower. It probably will be a gap down on open. So it does look like there's some big people getting rid of it. So I would not go long on this one. I wouldn't, but it's starting to look like it's a potentially very, very good short, especially if it can get close to that 20-day exponential. So I wouldn't recommend buying this long. This is not a value. You don't want to necessarily go for that. You don't want to go for this isn't like buying Kleenex at Costco. It's more like seeing what's gonna perform. So I'd be a little bit careful about this one, but there might be a good opportunity for a short on CrowdStrike, CRWD. Oil is about to go down due to the demand. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. But The price of crude oil is about to go down, but I believe that the price of the refiners is probably gonna go higher, and the reason is, of course, the shortage of diesel fuel, and that's the reason. But I think you may be right. Oil, it already has come back a little bit. Let's take a look if we can. Let's take a look at the price of just moving over here to the um, to see if we can get. We can do this. Hold on. All right. I want to. What I'm trying to do here is look at the oil price and the current crude price. There we go. All right. So this is the current crude price. This isn't a stock. What I'm showing you right now. This is the price of crude oil. So that's as you can see, we've been pulling back really since. Yeah. Okay. Let's go there. All right. There we go. So we've been pulling back since since really we got this high back in on the 27th of well, of September, I guess. No, let's see. Yeah, of May. So we've been pulling back for a while. Uh, Crude oil has gone below the 200-day line. That's interesting. And it does look like it's rallying a little bit here, but I don't know if it's going to. I think it's going down. I think we're going to see. Looks like, according to the chart here, looks like we're going to see $70, 65, $70 oil. It looks like it does look like that because there is some support right here at 68. Yeah, there we go. So there is some support here at 68. That's kind of where it's going. I think it's short term though, because I think, and the at the end of the year, the part of the reason oil is going lower is, of course, is because of inflation. People just can't afford it, so there's a lot of demand destruction going on there. But we did get a bounce here. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be um I don't know if I would be short oil. I'm actually hoping that the price of oil does go down, of course, because that would reignite the market. But right now, I think I think it possibly is going down. I agree with you a little bit. I think we might see a stabilization on oil at about 65. That's where I'm looking at right now. All right, Mr. Cheat. Okay, YPF. Huh. Okay. Well, let's go and take a look at YPF. All right. And see kind of where it is at. There we Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is the ammonia company. Yeah, this is definitely this has been a theme for this year. It's been ammonia and natural gas. Of course, as you know, fertilizer is made from natural gas, and that is the primary feedstock for it. So, high natural gas prices equal high fertilizer prices, and but there's also some other stuff. This is a Chilean company, and the reason it's so cheap, of course, is because it's quoted in the Chilean currency, and then of course it's an ADR in New York. But uh, this is actually a good formation. 99 relative strength on that, so very strong. I've traded this one before. I definitely like it. I don't think I'd go all in on this one, but I definitely think that it's pretty good. I mean, this one could, it wouldn't have to move up much right here, right now. But here's the thing: I wouldn't buy it at this level because, and I'll tell you why. We want to buy it as close to that. There's two ways to do a buy point. There's a buy point that comes off a cup, like cup with handle, that kind of thing, and then there's another one, of course, that's on the index line, and this would be a secondary buy point, and you want to buy it as close to that 21-day line as possible. And that's going to be 7% or less above that 21-day line. So right now it's a little extended. You want to buy this if it could pull back, and I don't know if it will, but if this could pull back to say about 880, I mean 780 or so, right about here, that's where I would look to buy it. But right now it's extended, so I wouldn't buy it right now. This is a very tough market to trade because entries are so important. You want to get very close to the 21-day line if you possibly can, because that is going to help you out if there is a situation where you have to where you get a pullback. So that's really the thing here. All right, let's see. Okay. Wayne, hey, how's Rhode Island? Okay, yeah. Anyone asked about Apple yet? I haven't done the Apple, but let's look at Apple because I was that was on my short list. It did not rally, so I didn't short it. Typically, I'm always waiting for it to, for to do a short. I like to see it rally up to an index line. Typically, the 21-day line is what I like to see. Um, but and I would and I talked about a little bit on the show yesterday. It's the problem with Apple is it's so widely held by so many funds. It's the number one holding of Berkshire Hathaway, for instance, and it was down today. Again, what I wanted to see yesterday, what I was trying to point out yesterday was that I wanted to see it rally up to, I wanted to see it rally. Let's put this up on the screen. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right. So this is this is Apple. Go to the back to there. All right. So this is Apple, and basically we have this, and I'm just going to draw a reversal line here. What this is, and I'm doing, is I'm showing you, currently Apple, based on this reversal line, is in a downward trend, as we all know. It has a relative strength of 39. That means that this is Apple is doing very, very poorly right now against the market. F- Um, uh, 61% of the market is doing better than Apple. This is the problem. This is where you don't want to be right now in the market. Is in the big cap techs, the Microsofts, the Apples, even the Amazons, because they're taking it in the shorts. The funds are having to get rid of these stocks because they have lost 40% of their value since the beginning of the year. So I would not be long this one, but I'm looking to short this one. And where I would want to short it would be right as it came up to the 50-day moving average. Now, unfortunately, it moved lower today, so not a good day to short it. But if it comes up maybe to 146, that's that 50-day line. That's where I would consider shorting it because I want to see it rally, and then once it rallies, it will probably pull even lower. Um, I'm showing, at least based on this chart, I'm showing about a 129 floor on the price of Apple, and currently it's 141. So about $10 down, at least from here. So I just don't see this obviously as a good long, but I think it could be a nice short if it moves up to if it sort of bounces and it moves up a little bit to right about there. That's where I would short it. Right about there. But I do think it is probably going lower, and I think it will pull it down to at least 129 eventually. That's what it's looking like to me, and not necessarily the greatest thing. What indicator is that under the candles? Oh, doesn't look like EMA. No, this the under the this is the volume here. By the way, if you're looking on TikTok, what am I looking at here? Okay, what I'm looking at here, this is the price action is in this top chart here, and this is the volume action. Now, interestingly enough, the chart below is a volume chart, and this red line here represents the average volume for the average daily volume. So, because it's a logarithmic chart, anytime it goes above that line, meaning that's an extreme amount of action. Now, if you look at Apple's chart, you'll see that the amount of volume has been trending lower. So people are selling, but they're not selling as much. Now, in the last few days, we're starting to see that selling activity kick up. I believe that many of the funds will unload Apple as it comes closer to the end of the year because they just can't hold on while it continues to go lower. I think Apple is probably likely to go lower because based on the chart action. So and also they have supply chain problems in China. So that's gonna be an issue. But that's what this is down below here. So very interesting. All right, just saw it. Okay, great. And let's take a look also from TikTok. What indicators? U-Haul long, 9-for-1 split. Well, in a regular market, I would say go for it because that's a good idea. Now, U-Haul may do very well in a recessionary market just because so many people are having to move primarily from California to other places, Texas being one of the chief on the list, I think. Um, but the chief on the list. Now, this is looking as a 9-for-1 split. I normally, when there's a split like this, I don't is that true? 9-for-1 split? I would be amazed if that's true because their stock is only 61 $61. I would look at that very carefully. I'm not sure that maybe it is, maybe that's true. I want to look at it a little bit more. But I would be surprised if they were splitting the stock there because it's just barely above the 200-day line, and it's sort of in a downward trend. It's sort of moved a little bit higher, but I couldn't I wouldn't think they would split this one. I just wouldn't. I'll have to get back to you on it because it just this is not a good environment to split a stock. As you can see, it's just moved lower and lower. It was up here at 70 and then it's moving lower. Now, unless they're expecting really superior earnings, which may happen, of course, I don't have any insider information, that's for sure. But I do think that with U-Haul, yeah, I don't think I'm not sure they're split. I would be surprised if they're splitting it. Why? Because last quarter they their gross profits were down 14%. Their sales were up, but their profits were down. So that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. It's got a price earnings ratio of 11, which is definitely in line, and the cash flow very strong. But I just I would be very surprised at that. But anyways, I could be very much wrong, and I have been before. So I would look into that to make sure that we are not that I'm seeing the right thing. But it doesn't look like I wouldn't be as I wouldn't be splitting, if I were in the management, at, U-Haul, I would not be splitting the stock, that's for sure. Alright, let's take a look at, is it BLRB or BIB? We talked about Wayne. Okay, thinking puts. Yeah, that's not a bad idea for Apple, by the way, Wayne. I think that's a good idea. Wouldn't touch the Apple with a 10-foot pole, that's right. I think you're totally right on that, yeah, it's a declining stock. I mean, you definitely have to. You're right about that. That's Apple. Yeah, you're totally right. I believe about Apple, Wayne, because yeah, it's not a good chart, and the mega cap techs they're just not performing. So you don't want to be long. You might want to be short though, and that's what I was talking about. You might want to be short on Apple, and that may work. We're looking at it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is Apple. Yeah, this is just a bad chart all the way around. Unfortunately, and interestingly enough, it's the biggest holding of Berkshire Hathaway, which I they're making all their money on the railroad, and they're not making it on anything else. All right, Yasmin, thank you very much. Let's take a look at BLIB. BLIB, is that right? Okay. Let's go to BLIB. See if I can switch over to that. BLIB. And no, I think maybe you're talking about the BIB, which is a ETF that tracks biotech. Yeah, I think it's probably the one. You might be talking about this one, but I'll cover this anyways because this is interesting. Um, BIB is a ETF that covers the biotech. Now, interesting thing about biotechs is that there are more biotech stocks out there than just about any other stocks, even more than you have in the software space. So this is the kind of area that you want to be. Yeah, that an ETF makes a heck of a lot of sense because uh, in an area like this, oh, I'm sorry, there we go. I'm sorry, BLLB, excuse me. Thanks, Wayne, appreciate it. Let's look at the right. So I still like the BIB, but let's look at the BLLB. Let's look at that one. Oops, that's not a good idea. All right, so let's get that BLLB. Get that up here. I think that's right. Let's see if that works. Oh, BIIB. There we go. Okay, Biogen. Thank you, Wayne. Yes, man. Thank you for setting me straight here. This is one of the lone biotechs. I'm not a I will firmly admit that I am not a great trader of biotech stocks. I'm not as versed in, what the FDA and doing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably just gonna give you technical a look at the technicals and not the underlying. So I don't really understand a lot of that, but this one did come out of a base here at, in the buy point 222.82. We're at 291. It looks a little extended to me, but um, it did pull back to the 21-day line. I like to buy at the 21-day line mainly because the funds like to buy at the 21-day line. Of course, I'm a minnow in a sea of whales. But it looks like we're almost at the 21-day line. So yeah, you probably could buy it here. It looks like it's getting some support here. And the question is, will it go higher? I don't know, but it's down in the after hours trading. I don't know. I can't really get excited in this kind of market when it only has a checklist of 67%. So I'd avoid it. I probably would avoid it, even though it does look like it's starting to trend upwards. I would still avoid this one. I think you're going to get in trouble on unless you know underlying, in a more underlying way. I think it's going to be tough. Uh, you know, I think it's tough if you aren't doing that. All right, take one last one from uh, SWCH Switch. Ah, okay, SWCH. Let's look at that one just real quick. SWCH, and I am not familiar with that symbol. SWCH. There we go. Oh, Switch. Okay, develops. Okay, data centers. Okay, yeah, I am familiar with this. I didn't know about that before. All right. The question is, do we think that data centers are going to be the thing in the future? Well, they sort of are, but I just think there's a lot of competition, and the big boys like Amazon and Google and Microsoft, they already built their own. So I don't know if there's how much of a market for the independent ones there are. We definitely see a trend in terms of volume. I mean, it's definitely been. I mean, maybe it's going to be acquired by somebody because we definitely have some volume coming in there. But it's just flat as a board. This looks like an acquisition to me based on this chart. It looks like somebody's going to buy these guys, or maybe a REIT. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm looking at it. It's definitely trending above those S&P 500 with a relative strength of 90, so that's not bad. The question is, would I buy it? Well, 67%. Not really that excited about it. I don't know. In this kind of market, I'm very much cautious. We're right at the 21-day line, which is not a bad place to buy it. But I don't know. I can't say there's a $34 buy point. We're right below the buy point, 34.09. So I don't know. It does look like it may break out, but it looks like it's getting ready. But it's basically been, if you look at the trend here, it's since really, well, yeah. I mean, since April, it's been a very tight trading range. So I think I'd probably skip this one. Probably skip it. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Oh, MMTLP, Texas Oil going private. Look at the chart for the short squeeze. Okay, well, that's good. This is what you got to be worried about in this market, especially if you're going short, are short squeezes. And one short squeeze is for everyone out there that doesn't kind of know exactly what that is. People that short it, you see, have margin calls typically, sometimes. And when those margin calls happen, of course, that's when they have to cover. And usually they don't go into the market and cover. It usually is an automatic situation where they have to cover. And this is causes short squeezes. So which can move the stock up very, very rapidly and very, very quickly. And then it comes down just as fast. So short squeezes are no fun if you are on the short side. Um, but it can be great if you're if you're long. Um, I don't seem to see this one come up, unfortunately. I don't see this one seem to come in, but I will definitely take a look at it. I really appreciate that. All right. Hi, Jim. What are your thoughts on tomorrow with Powell speaking? Gosh, I wish I had an insight on this. I think we're going to continue. I think we're going to move. I think the rates are going to continue to move higher. Um, I really do. I think that we'll see, but I think we're going to move higher. I wish I had a crystal ball on Powell, but I appreciate the question. I just really don't have any insight, unfortunately, on that. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I really appreciate everyone that tunes in. I don't know if you tune in anymore into anything because of the way things work. But what I would really appreciate from you, if you do have, if you're not already subscribed to our to the if you're not already subscribed, maybe that might work. If you could do that, that'd really help, of course. Let me get that up there. I always like to show this one because you need to hit that like button. Please hit the like button. Smash it so that it gets it out there to everybody. Also, I wanted to show you, and I'm just going to flash this really quick on the screen. You may have to go back later on and look at this, but I do have a new heat map, and I wanted to show you the link for that. So the latest heat map out there and I have it up on the screen. Only, unfortunately, on YouTube and Facebook. I don't have anything else, but just go to https://sinfox/lp/m2gkwl. Now that's as if you're on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter. If you are not, you can jump over to my bio link on TikTok. Just go up here and click on that, and you'll be able to get the same list. But what this is a heat map of the areas of the market where the capital is going. So not a bad thing to have. Not a bad thing to have out there. All right, I'll be back tomorrow at 5. Thanks, everybody, and please tell if anybody's interested in the stock market, tell them about my show. I really appreciate it, and also like it, and also if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So till tomorrow, happy trading.